KIMT News 3. Iowa, Minnesota, together. This is KIMT News 3 at 6.
The day Americans have been waiting for is here. It's Election Day 2016. Our KIMT team coverage continues right now. We have reporters stationed across our viewing area covering the races that matter to you.
In North Iowa, we have Emily Boster, Megan Hoffman, and Brian Tabak. In Minnesota, it's Dee Dee Steepen, Adam Salet, and Raquel Hellman standing by. And we will begin in Rochester, where in under 2 hours, those polls will close.
KIMT News 3's Dee Dee Steepen and Adam Salet are covering a race whose winner will have a direct impact on their growing community. They join us live now with an update. Adam?
First up tonight, the race every American is interested in, the race for president between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton.
Here's the latest according to CBS News. Donald Trump is ahead slightly, 49% to Hillary Clinton's 47%. California has called Hillary Clinton most recently, Idaho calling Donald Trump. It's a very close race that we're keeping a very close eye on tonight.
And we'll be getting some commentary on the presidential race from our analysts a bit later in the show.
Now for the only U.S. Senate contest in our two states.
That's the race between Chuck Grassley and Patty Judge. Here is a look at the very latest results. And it looks like Charles Grassley has now taken a strong lead against Patty Judge. We saw this just a few minutes ago. These are some brand new numbers here. The Republican looking to secure his 7th term in Congress, and it looks like he is growing in his lead.
Yeah, it was just tied a few minutes ago. So these numbers updating, for you every minute. Now for the U.S. House seat in District 4, Steve King has been ahead against Kim Weaver in the polls leading up to election. And here's a look at the latest numbers. Steve King leading Kim Weaver 59% to 41%, only 2% precincts reporting in that. That district covers most of north central Iowa. King was first elected in 2002.
The other Iowa House race impacting our area is this one between Rod Blum and Monica Vernon. Here are the most recent numbers on these. Vernon with a 53 to 47% lead against the incumbent Blum. Now, there is one other U.S. House race that impacts our entire area. DFLer Tim Walz in a rematch against Jim Hagedorn.
That was in 2014, and here are the latest results this election night. We have Jim Hagedorn coming in with 51% right now. Tim Walz, 49%. This is another one we're watching very closely. This one has a few more results in with 31% reporting.
Now, turning to our state-level coverage, we are covering more than 150 races on air and online on KIMT.com.
And this one is one of the biggest races of the night in Cerro Gordo County, with a Republican newcomer mounting a strong challenge against a longtime legislative Democrat.
KIMT News 3's Megan Hoffman is live with a look at the race between Sharon Steckman and Barb Hovland. Megan.
Joining me now, we have political analyst Bennett Smith for some more perspective on this race. Thanks for sticking around with us.
Absolutely. It's been great to be here.
Yeah, it's been a really fun night. So that race turned out pretty interesting. In North Iowa, 2 incumbent county supervisors have been removed, one who served for more than 2 decades. Tim Latham has won over Jay Erdahl. Latham received 53% of the vote tonight. Erdahl received nearly 50%. Erdahl has been supervisor for 28 years in Cerro Gordo County, and Chris Watts has officially won over current supervisor Phil Doherty. In State House District 51, there will be no incumbent because Josh Burns is stepping down, but here is a look at the results tonight. Mayor of Northwood Jane Bloomingdale taking on Osage Principal Tim Hayhall. She has won with 63% of that vote. Another upset tonight, incumbent Democrat Mary Jo Wilhelm has lost her Senate seat to Waylon Brown.
We have much more election coverage to bring you in just a moment, but we do want to take a time out here and talk about the weather situation because this deserves a discussion.
That's for sure. I mean, it is so nice out there. Voters had no excuse today. Let's turn it over to Chief Meteorologist Tyler Roney in the Storm Team 3 Forecast Center. Tyler, no complaints on this front tonight.
No, I think we'd all be voting for this weather.
Joining me now for some expert analysis is Bennett Smith. Bennett, you joined us last night. Thanks for joining us again today.
You're welcome. Glad to be here.
Yeah, so we talked last night. You mentioned the Trump effect. Now, what are some of the big issues that drove that effect, I guess?
Well, I think what we've seen here is a real populist revolt.
A young boy in critical condition continues to fight tonight. 5-year-old Lucas Wharton is in a Rochester hospital after being hit by a vehicle at about this time last night, and now we're learning more about the man behind the wheel. In other local headlines tonight, a Magellan Pipeline diesel line ruptured this morning in North Iowa. It happened in this area of Worth County, about 3 miles north of Hanlintown. Thanks for joining us. First tonight, we're learning more about a building fire in North Iowa.
This is a serious blaze. We are going to go right to KIMT News 3's Megan Hoffman, who is standing by live at the scene north of Clear Lake with the latest developments. Megan, what are you seeing?
That's all the details we have for now. Katie?
All right, thank you very much, Megan, for staying on top of this developing situation, and she will continue to stay out there until that road is open, and we'll have more for you tonight at 10. Welcome back. Well, Freeborn County is officially under a state of emergency. First tonight, a month's worth of rain in just a few hours. That's what parts of our area saw overnight, and then they saw the floodwaters surrounding them.
It's been a difficult day of fighting floods throughout North Iowa, and in one case, it was a deadly fight. Chickasaw County authorities say a man called for help around 4:30 this morning because his car was being swept away. His body was found around 1 this afternoon, just north of Lawlor. That danger was present across North Iowa today, particularly in our eastern counties. Decorah, Freeport, Fort Atkinson, Spillville, and Winneshiek County also saw some of the worst situations.
Yeah, and that's where I grew up. So seeing the damage and dozens of people out of their homes, it's just devastating. So I talked with city officials and those who were evacuated today about what's next.
Yeah, it's pretty sad. It's devastating.
As the mayor of Spillville, Mike Klimisch, has been working around the clock after this morning's floods. Although it's nothing new, he was mayor when the last round of floods came through.
In 2008, we had the river crested at 19 feet. Today we broke that record. We were at 21 feet.
At 21 feet, water is making its way into homes, forcing some to evacuate.
We have about 10 houses that have no power and had water on the first floor, and they won't be able to move back in today.
He says they will likely be out of their homes until next week.
Yeah, look how close it is. Is it on our deck already now?
About 25 people were also evacuated from the trailer park in Fort Atkinson.
This morning when I woke up, it wasn't anywhere near. On the other side, we have a rock garden, and then it started coming up to that, around our arborvitae trees, and it's still rising because it's on our back deck now, which is going into the house right now.
Well, it's sickening, right? It's sickening.
Co-owner of the trailer park, Don Kravachik, says he was not expecting to see this
Now, that trailer's flooded, I think.
when he woke up.
It was like a flash flood. I mean, the water came up just that quick, and everybody scurried to try to get out what they could get out.
Now he and others are just waiting to be able to pick up the pieces.
It's just going to be a lot of mess, cleanup mess.
We're just going to keep playing it hour by hour and hope it doesn't rain anymore.
And many people staying with friends or relatives tonight. And all of my neighbors I spoke with are staying optimistic. I know they'll come together, help each other out, and get through this.
Yeah, that's the best you can hope for in a situation like this. Now, in that video, you may have noticed that iconic Inwood ballroom is underwater up to its windows. Another sad sight, as few of those ballrooms remain in Iowa. It's a popular spot for wedding receptions, family reunions, and things like that.
3 hours after the meeting began, there's still no vote tonight. Mason City leaders are set to take a final vote on a development with Prestige Foods to build a $240 million pork processing plant in southwestern Mason City. KIMT News 3's Matt Bradley is at tonight's meeting with an update. Matt?
That decision, made just before 2 this morning by the Mason City City Council, has basically everyone talking today.
That's right. The tie vote brought the Prestige Foods of Iowa project to an abrupt halt. KIMT News 3's Emily Boster is live now with how people are reacting to a pork processing plant no longer an agenda item in Mason City. First tonight, it's a trial we are following. An Osage man is accused of sexual abuse and having a plan to kill. Guilty on all counts. That's the decision in the Mark Rederath trial today. The Osage man was found guilty of attempted murder, solicitation to commit murder, and third-degree sexual abuse. KIMT News 3's Emily Boster followed the case all week leading up to this verdict and has more. Rederath will be sentenced on October 10th. We first told you about the verdicts today in a push alert. If you want to be informed about breaking news as it happens, be sure to download that free app and enable notifications. In other health news tonight, according to U.S. Senator Amy Klobuchar's office, from 2014 to 2015, overdose deaths in Minnesota rose by 11%.
And today she met with community leaders, law enforcement, and medical professionals in Rochester for a roundtable discussion on the opioid and heroin crisis. KIMT News 3's Dee Dee Stephen has more on this from Rochester.
Well, it's time for tonight's Trending at 10, and Matt Bradley has off tonight celebrating his anniversary, so we have a special guest for Trending tonight. Thanks for joining us, Tyler.
I'm happy to be here, and a very happy anniversary to those two. I know they're having a good time.
Yeah, 9 years, so there you go. Well, topping tonight's Trending news, lottery retailers are bound to be busy leading up to Saturday. There's no winner in Saturday's Powerball
Here we go
drawing.
again.